As we take a look at the weather over the summer, let's just step back to where we are right now and kind of give me a comparison year over year of where we are this year compared to where we were at this time last year.
Well, Jeff, there almost is, in some respects, there's no comparison between this year and last year over most of the central part of the country, because a year ago we had level 3 to level 4 drought in effect, pretty much from the interior west all the way practically to the Appalachians. Not quite that extensive, but it was pretty close. You had level 4 drought in Indiana and southern Illinois, for example. This year, from the Missouri River east, the indications are that no drought is in effect. There's been a tremendous round of precipitation, be it in the form of rain or snow, as we know. And we think about Nebraska, and there still is a fair amount of both short and long-term drought, basically in the western half of the state. The eastern half of the state, we have mostly long-term drought, and then in the southeast, drought-free. So there overall has been a big improvement in that respect.
Any specific reason why that Missouri River line is kind of the line to go from east to west?
Well, I think what we have seen is the storm tracks that formed over the past several months did take a track that favored the western two-thirds of the Midwest. But then also, we know that Nebraska had historic drought last year, and it simply takes an awful lot of moisture just to bring things back. And I think that's the reason why we still have got a real stubborn, longer-term drought situation going on over the eastern half of the state.
Perhaps the people that caught a few rains were maybe thinking that the drought was easing, but now after a few weeks of not getting anything, the leaves are starting to curl in some areas. So as you look at next week, perhaps, we've caught some heat this week, especially one day. What does it look like in terms of temperature next week?
Temperatures are going to be a little bit on the hot side to begin next week, but then we will see some moderation as we go through the week. It doesn't look like we're going to have just a constant round of real hot conditions, but we still are looking for values to be near to above normal. So I would not be surprised that we kind of stay in that low 90s type bracket on the temperatures, and that is going to dry out soil moisture. There's no doubt about that.
Any chance for precipitation next week?
I think there's going to be over the eastern portion of the state, especially, let's say from Grand Island on east. We see that we see on the charts that some upper level low pressure may form that actually tracks out of places like Missouri westward instead of low pressure forming and working east. It's kind of a little atmospheric twist that's happening, and that could drag some showers into the eastern portion of the state, east central Nebraska, and then into eastern Nebraska.
What's the longer term outlook as we get towards the pollination in both crops? Anything that looks to be of major help coming along the way?
We're going to need, I think, first of all the irrigation we can muster. We know that irrigation systems didn't have to start up quite as early as they did last year, but I think we're going to see those pivots working quite a bit as we go through the balance of July and on into August. Rainfall, I think, is going to be scattered. We're looking at basically, around normal for rainfall, but considering that there are some deficits, that really doesn't help out when we're in a high evapotranspiration phase like we are.
Does the same go as you get to the western half of Nebraska where they're really dry, and they were in it before the eastern half was last year?
They were, and they still are, and I am afraid that in the western part of the state, it still is going to be fairly difficult to bring in some rainfall. Now, we have seen some monsoonal shower formation during this past week. Some of that was because of a tropical storm off of Baja California that supplied some moisture into the upper atmosphere over the western part of the state. And so we might see that, but those monsoonal showers tend to be very spotty and really not the kind of substantial rains that we need. So it still is going to be difficult to really ease that drought pattern.
Has this year, or this summer at least, gone kind of how you thought it was based off of the La Nina year last year?
Yes, it has, and the reason I say that is that we felt that The Pacific was starting to go back into a neutral phase, and that's where it is now. We also felt like things were going to be more favorable over the eastern part of the Midwest this year, still with some challenges here in the western Corn Belt, and I think that's the way the pattern is starting to play out.